After 7 years of being loyal to my Apple Watch, I've recently seen all of the adverts, everything promoting Whoop, and I just wondered whether it would give me extra insights into the metrics, into my sleep, into all of those sorts of details that I just kind of love statistics a bit more than I probably should. And I wanted to see whether it would help me with my recovery, with training, with fitness. And so, is it something that works alongside Apple Watch? Is it something to be complementary? Or is it a replacement for it? That was where I wanted to start with this. So the Apple Watch, if you go back to when it started, the metrics were very, very minimal. They were very limited. As it's gone on, it's got better. It has developed, but there are limitations to how much data it can actually give you and actually how personalized it is for you. So I'd seen the adverts for Whoop everywhere, on every social media platform, and it's promising this real insightful look at how you live your life, how you can perform better, how you can sleep better, how you can feel better. And it's tricky. I've got a friend of mine who has a Garmin, he's got a Whoop, and he says the pairing of them is brilliant. Essentially, I think it kind of breaks down into one end you've got the Garmin, which is a really good fitness tracker. So if you're running, if you're cycling, whatever your sport is, it will help you track that absolutely brilliantly. At the other end, you seem to have Whoop, which is a lifestyle tracker. Yes, you can track your exercises on it, but you're not going to get your cadence for running. You're not going to get your breaths per minute. You're not going to get those sorts of things. There's limited fitness tracking at this end, and then you've got all the fitness tracking and little lifestyle tracking at this end. And then somewhere in the middle, you've got Apple Watch, which neither is perfect at the lifestyle tracking or potentially as good as the Garmin. So I think very simply, if you've got a Garmin, then Whoop makes sense. If you've got an Apple Watch, does it make sense? I signed up for the free trial. This is not a sponsored advert. I have signed up for the free trial. I've ticked the box that says if I don't send it back, I will pay all the money for it. I've had it now for 10 days. And I think there are some elements of it. I think a lot of it is brilliant. I think it does exactly what it says on the tin. Very quick spoilers for the review. I think it does exactly what it says on the tin. I think that their claims are valid. It seems to work. The question is whether it works if you've already got another option. So if you don't have an Apple Watch or a Garmin, go for it. If you're interested in getting a Whoop, I think yes, to very quickly answer your questions, it will help you achieve your goals if that's what you want to do. If you're not that interested in achieving goals, maybe it's not for you. But it is very comfortable. I've been wearing this now non-stop for 10 days. I think the charging element of it, so the charger is this, and you charge it up by USB-C, and then basically to charge your Whoop, you put it on there and it's charging. I think that is a really clever thing where essentially you never need to take this off. I think it is minimal. I think it's comfortable. I have had no issue wearing it for 10 days, so it's 240 hours. I couldn't, I'd have to take the Apple Watch off to charge it, but I quite like being able to take the Apple Watch off occasionally to be able to charge it, whereas this, I've barely noticed it. I think visually it looks relatively unobtrusive. I think it does look a little bit weird when you're wearing both. It sort of looks like you're wearing a home arrest tracker bracelet thing, which is a slightly odd thing. I'm not sure I've been a fan of wearing both of them, but there are other options on where you wear it. And if I continue using it, I might look at getting a bicep strap, or they sell pants and various things that you can put it in. So it just needs skin contact. So you can put it in your pants if you want to. There are some odd things with it. So most tech, this is quite a techie thing. And I think most people that are buying it will be used to buying tech. There is no immediate payoff. If you buy an Apple Watch, if you buy a Garmin, if you buy a Garmin bike computer, you get immediate feedback. Here on the Apple Watch, you've got a pretty screen. You can change your settings on the screen. You can play with all the different features. You can ping your phone. You can do all of that. If you get a Garmin, you can go on a run. You can track your run. With this, it takes 4 days of constant tracking before it really starts giving you any feedback. You get some immediate data back, but actually that data isn't that useful very quickly. And so it's quite unusual in a world of immediate gratification. I have bought this thing, I have gone out, it's been delivered, I can open it and I can play with it straight away. You put it on and you charge it up, and then you spend the first 4 days going, when's it going to give me some insights? When's it going to tell me what's going on?
So something I forgot to mention, actually, in terms of that immediacy of information, if you've seen any of the Whoop adverts, you know that it talks about these insights. So in the adverts, there's like eating fruit and vegetables, plus 4% recovery. Watching a screen in bed, minus 8% recovery. These are all in there, and that is accurate. But I've now been using it for 2.5 weeks, and I've only unlocked my first insight. So there's this screen that's got 20 or so insights. Some are automatically recorded. Some are in that questionnaire it asks you each morning. And it helps you identify which patterns of behavior help your recovery or harm your recovery. The problem is that they won't tell you unless they're confident about the results. But 2.5 weeks in, I've now only unlocked 2 of them. I've spoken to people that have used it for longer, and it says, yeah, after 6 months, it's incredibly accurate. But you don't get those insights quickly. I really like the idea, and I like the fact that they're making sure that it's accurate. It's just a little bit frustrating that it takes so long to get them to where you want it to be.
And so it's built on 3 main pillars. You've got sleep, recovery, and strain. Strain is the one place where all the exercise that you do in a day, whether that is sort of intentional exercise, going for a run, going for a walk, even doing, what I really like is they have some really, not unusual, but the whole range of exercise you might do in a day. So even down to gardening, it's all covered. So if you do intentional exercise, it tracks that, but it also it tracks your steps and it tracks your heart rate constantly. So even if you're just a bit more stressed running for the bus or those sorts of things, it tracks that. So your strain for the day is measured, your recovery for each day is measured, and then your sleep for each day is measured. And it breaks all of those down into lots of little metrics. So if you like your metrics, if you like your statistics, then very quickly you can get heavily invested in looking up all your metrics for the day. I would say that most of those metrics are covered by Apple Watch. If not directly in the fitness app, then you can get other apps. You can find all of the same metrics. I haven't found anything that it measures that the Apple Watch doesn't, but it does everything in one place and it sums it all up very nicely. The other thing that it does is it uses that data to create a really personalized recommendation for you as to what effort you should be putting in to help improve you. So it looks at your resting heart rate, your heart rate variability, your respiration rate, and saying, okay, when you're sleeping, did you have a good night's sleep? Is your resting heart rate down or up? Are you more or less fit than you were yesterday? Are you more or less recovered than you were yesterday? If you are more recovered than you were yesterday, today you can have a day where you can work harder. So it sets a strain target for each day and it says, in order to be able to feel fitter tomorrow, this is what you want to aim for. But then it also says, in order to be able to feel better tomorrow, this is when you should be going to bed. This is how long you should be sleeping for. This is when you should stop drinking caffeine. This is when you should eat no later than whatever it might be. So it is very much telling you how to live your life. And if you want that, great, it will do it for you. If you don't want that, this product is not for you. It will help you organize your life and organize your fitness and organize your health, but you have to want to listen to it and you have to be able to listen to it. So that's one of my issues with it is there was a day, so I have a 4-year-old. She's started school. She is exhausted at the moment and sleep. Some nights she'll sleep absolutely brilliantly all the way through. The other morning I was on morning duty and at 6:20 she woke up. Normally she wakes up between 7 and 7:30. 6:20 she woke up, so I got up and we went and chatted and we laid in bed and just chatted about nonsense before we got up. And my Whoop goes, "You slept less than you should have done last night. Do you fancy a nap? Have a nap, it'll make you feel rested for the rest of the day, or get to bed at 9:15 tonight." I know I slept less than I meant to because my toddler woke me up at 6:20 rather than waking up at 7 o'clock. So that sort of information at that point didn't feel hugely helpful, didn't feel hugely reassuring, because I was thinking, I know I slept less than I wanted to. I'm very aware of this at the moment. I can't have a nap because I'm looking after my girl. And I can't just say, do you know what, you look after yourself for a moment, Daddy's going to go and have a nap for a while. And getting to bed at 9:15, it's all well and good to say that. It's not that easily achievable. So you have to be able to do what it says in order to get the rewards. But the feedback they give me, I'm sure if I had done all of that, I would have felt absolutely brilliant the next day. I would have slept like a log. I would have been able to, it suggested a strain target of, the numbers are a bit odd for strain targets. It seems to be 1 to 21 on a logarithmic scale. So you can work out a little bit, and it will say you've had a strain score of 7 or 8, as in like if you've gone for a walk at lunch. If you go for I went for a 10-mile run and it said I got a strain score of 18. I don't know how you get it all the way to 21 other than possibly running around a track 403 times for 10 days in a row. It's trying to work out how you push that strain score to really high targets. I haven't been able to achieve that yet. I would have thought running 10 miles would have done it, but apparently not. So the strain score, it's there and it's very, very clever, and it adapts, and it gives you a sense of how you're feeling. So it does. You wake up in the morning and it says, actually, you didn't sleep that well last night. You need to take it easy today. And as best as I can, I will, and I feel more rested and more recovered. If you are training for a race or for a run or for a high rocks or anything like that, actually, this is where it could be incredibly useful, because it is so easy to overtrain because you're not listening to your body. You're thinking, I need to push harder, I need to train more, I need to put more effort in. And actually having something that says, you're at danger of burning out, you need to relax today, you need to not push it as hard as you did yesterday, can be incredibly helpful.
So another thing that I forgot to mention originally, I really like their strain activities. They are very clever, and there's a lot more variance than you can have with an Apple Watch or probably with a Garmin. I don't know the Garmin well enough. As I said, yesterday I did an hour's worth of gardening, and so I was able to put that in as an activity, a strain activity, and so it helped track me during that, whereas the Apple Watch wouldn't have done in the same way. I know some people choose to use it as mixed cardio, but it helps you track that. When it comes to weight training, there is a very clever detail where it allows you to look at your muscular versus your cardio load from a weight training session. However, in order to get that accurate, you have to supply it with exactly the weight training that you've done. So you tell it what exercises, how many reps, and what weight, and it will look at muscular strain, and therefore it will look at muscular strain versus cardio strain. As far as I can tell, it looks like it therefore won't tell you off if you're doing a cardio one day and a muscular next day for telling you you're straining too hard. It may also, I don't know if it's clever, what would be very clever if you could put in that you'd done a back day and then the next day you did a legs day, then the two wouldn't stack up. I don't know if it's that clever. I haven't gone into that depth of detail. I also think setting up the workouts is a little bit of a long process. Once it is set up, you can then just import each workout session so you don't have to do it each time. So if you had a series of exercises that you did on any given day, it becomes much easier. I like the idea, don't know if I like the execution.
And equally, if you have an event coming up and you know you need to be on your peak for that particular day, it can help you aim to be at peak recovery, peak fitness for that day by following its instructions. The best way to put it, this was a friend of mine who said this, it's like having 3 different types of personal trainer in your corner. If you've got Whoop, you've got Apple Watch, and you've got Garmin. Garmin is essentially there going, I've got the data if you want it, but you're going to have to look for it. And I'm not going to make it easy for you to interpret. But the data's all there. An Apple Watch is just the cheerleader going, yes, you can do it. Close your rings. It might be 11:30 at night, but you're so close. All you need to do at 11:30 at night is a half an hour brisk walk and you can close your rings. And isn't closing your rings the most important thing? Just close your rings. Do something now. Stand up for just a minute. And it's incessantly cheerful and demanding, and it can get exhausting at times. Whoop is a bit sarcastic at times, going, do you know you didn't sleep as well as you thought you should have done last night? You should get to bed earlier. Try a bit harder. Just look after yourself, okay? Because I'm a bit worried about you, and maybe you just need to take better care of yourself. And so it depends which style you want. I think all three are effective, and there will always be an argument for any of them. It's about choosing which one you want. The difficulty for me is, as somebody who uses an Apple Watch, and I've been using it for years, and I've spent the money and bought this watch, I'm not planning on replacing it anytime soon, do I then need to spend the extra money on getting a Whoop? That's where the cost becomes quite interesting. It is very clever. You do not buy the product. You buy essentially a subscription to their algorithm and to their monitoring, which includes the Whoop. At the moment, Whoop 4.0. There are lots of rumors that Whoop 5 is coming out soon. I have absolutely no information about that. I have seen online ideas of what may be included. I have no idea whether they will or they won't. Some of them look really interesting. Some of them I have no idea how they'll actually work. But it's quite interesting what may be coming, because if you buy a subscription, when Whoop 5 comes out, they automatically upgrade you. And I think that's quite a clever idea, that you're not buying the product, you're buying the service, and the product happens to come with the service. I think in the UK at the moment it's £30 a month if you're paying month by month. If you go for an annual subscription, it's £230 for the year, which equates to just under £20 a month. Or you can get 2 years for, I think it's £399, which then, do the maths, it's less. I think that's quite a clever pricing structure. It means spending a significant amount more money when I've already bought this, and I don't know that this adds to what the Apple Watch gives me. I have enjoyed the metrics. I have enjoyed the very specific, individualized, all in one place, this is how to make your life feel better. However, with a little girl who places demands on me that I cannot simply bow to the whim of a watch, what I feel like is it keeps telling me my sleep debt is going up. And I'm like, I know it's going up. Let me sleep more. If you can tell me how I can sleep more hours in the day, that would be great. But I cannot find time to sleep more hours in the day with what I need to do. So I think it is very clever and it's very individualized. It's an incredible set of data, all put together beautifully in one place. But I don't know that I need it in addition to what I already get from the Apple Watch. That is because as I said, I like statistics. So I will dive into the fitness. I will dive into the health app on the phone. I will find all of those details. I will find my heart rate variability in the Apple Health app, which is all there. It doesn't tie it together and say, you're recovering more, you're recovering less. It should be an easier day, it should be a harder day. But I can apply that knowledge. This does it for you without you having to apply that knowledge. So that's where it's quite interesting from a coaching point of view. If I had a Garmin and I only used it as a fitness option, then the Whoop might make more sense. But I don't know enough about Garmin's to say for certain whether you can find that detail. You may well be able to find that detail, I suspect. with the Garmin's, with all the different structures and all the different levels of watch you can get, and the Phoenix 8 and versus I haven't had a Garmin since I had a Forerunner 10, so I don't know what's available on those watches. But I suspect some of them will have that information, but this may make it much easier for you to find. So essentially, am I saying you should buy one or not? I can't make that decision for you. If you want one, get the 1 month's free trial. Try it out. See whether it makes a difference. See whether you can apply the learning it gives you to your life and see whether it improves how you feel. If you want to get one and try the model. That's what I like about it as well, is you can try it for a month and see whether it's going to make a difference for you. I don't know whether an Apple Watch plus a Whoop will help hugely, but it may do. It may help you focus your mind. It may help achieve the things that you want to achieve. I think I'd be able to replace my Apple Watch sooner if it at least told me the time, but I know I can get my phone out of my pocket, but actually something that I can just check my time. So in my job, I love the fact that my Apple Watch can show me messages from important people coming through. I can set it with a certain focus. Only the important people can send me messages. I can check that message without having to take my eyes off the task that I'm doing, or a very brief look away. I can check to see what my message is without having to get my phone out of my pocket. I can also time things. I can see what the time is. I can see what important messages I've got without having to take my phone out of my pocket. If I only had the Whoop at the moment, I would be more reliant on my phone. And this is where there's a really interesting counterpoint. One of the things that Whoop keeps telling me is spending less time on your phone is better for your sleep. But in order to interact with Whoop, you have to spend more time on your phone to input data. So every morning it comes up with a questionnaire to ask me about my day before. You can set all the questions in the questionnaire as to what factors you think might be affecting your life, whether you got enough daylight, whether you went to a sauna, whether you ate late, whether you had alcohol, all of these different options, you can set them. And so it asks me a questionnaire. So the first thing that happens when I wake up in the morning, as soon as I open the app, it asks me this. And so you have to spend time on the phone interacting with it to be able to get it to do what you want it to do, but then it's telling me to spend less time on my phone. So this is where there are certain elements of it. Having some element of interactivity on the device itself, again, their whole thing is it won't interrupt in your life, which is why they don't have a screen on it. So it becomes, how do you resolve that? It becomes quite a fascinating concept. Anyway, I have rambled on for long enough. I want to know what you think. Have you used one? Do you have one? Do you have a friend who has one? Do you have a Garmin and a Whoop? Do you have an Apple Watch and a Whoop? Do you have a Whoop on its own? How are you using it? Let people know in the comments below, because actually these are my views, but it's really good to get as many views as possible. So please spread that information, spread the love. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.